Welcome to Lashback, everyone. I'm Natalyan.
And I'm Phoebe. And today we're going to laugh at life a little bit because no one should take themselves too seriously. So, funny, probably embarrassing stories. Over to you, Nat.
Yeah, so we normally do a bit of Googling, but we're not doing that today. And we actually really want to shout out to the listeners to let us know your funny stories. And I think we're going to kick off today with any funny stories you've got, Phoebe. And I'll tell you maybe one of mine, my core one, related to performing and whether how that's kind of, has it changed your life or is it just a funny moment? Over to you, Phoebe.
Well, I think there is a stagecraft we all develop through experience. And the first ever band, no, second ever band I was in, I was about 15. And it was me and my mate Liz, and then Mark and Alan. And Alan on bass, very tall chap, like 6'4" or something.
Yeah.
And I'm a short one. And I'm singing away on stage and I'm moving around, and he's holding his bass. Now, it just so happens the height at which he holds his bass, the headstock is the same height as my eye. And I remember swinging round one time and him swinging round one time, and it literally knocking me in the cheek, like around the eye, in the guitar solo. And I just remember thinking, wow, I feel really stunned, but the chorus is coming up. And I kind of just sort of like styled it out. Then the next day I had like these three little red things and a bit of, I wouldn't call it a black
Guys.
eye, but like little bits of a bruise. So that's always made me now, stagecraft, very, very conscious around who is around me and what are they doing.
Absolutely. And it's funny how these things affect you because that's a similar thing as what happened to me. But my main one, which I've never forgotten about, and I'm not actually 100% sure on all the details anymore. You know how that you kind of your story evolves with time, and it's not you lying, it's just what you've got as a memory. And I don't really have anyone to check with. But my first ever solo singing performance, I was very little, probably 4 or 5. And I'm not sure if people around the world know this song, but the Brits do. It's called Little Donkey. It's a Christmas song. And I was getting up to go and perform and I tripped over. I'm pretty sure I tripped over because we were sitting on the floor as little kids. You're always shoved on the floor. And then I tripped up the stairs and I was sung Little Donkey crying.
Oh no.
I wish I had a video. If it was today's time, someone would have videoed that.
Oh, sweetheart. How old were you?
I think probably 4 or 5, but honestly, I have a fear of stairs.
Because
And
of
that
that.
affects it. Yeah. And that affects I don't know if you remember this when we've done gigs. I've always had anxiety about what shoes to wear because of that. Not
Um,
wearing specific shoes, but the stairs.
I mean, I'm a bit too old for big heels these days, but I used to have three tiers of shoe. One would be like shoes, and then the other one would be like taxi shoes. Like I can wear these
Yes.
shoes if we get in a taxi there and a taxi back. Ain't no public transport with these.
Yeah.
And then there's the stage shoes that get carried from the dressing room to the literally the side of the stage, and I wouldn't dare attempt doing the stairs up to the stage in them. They go on the stage. I walk up the steps. I put the shoes on. I totter over to the mic. I sidestep the whole gig. And then when it's time to go off the stage, in fact, the gospel choir I used to have stage shoes.
Yeah, I remember
Take them
that.
off in order to walk because there's just literally. I mean, I saw a woman walking down the road the other day with these shoes on, and I was like, her poor
Hey,
ankles. I'd be constantly frightened of falling off the
I would.
towers that she had on her feet.
I would fall. And talking about the Blues Kitchen, so me and Phoebe used to sing in the Blues Kitchen Gospel Choir every Sunday in Shoreditch, London. And I don't know if you remember, I had these big black glittery
Yes.
platform trainers or sneakers to some
Yeah,
people.
yeah, with
And
the
that
heel.
came, yeah, that came about because of pain on stage and fear of falling. And I thought, how can I get a bit of height from this little Natalie Ann, but also kind of have control and not be thinking about my feet? Because I've done gigs before where you can see in my face that I'm in pain. It's not good. It's
Not
not good.
funny. The things we do for our art. I mean, really, women shouldn't feel the need to dress up for stage at all, but we do, don't we? So many.
Well, it's crazy, and it's society as well. Because I don't know if you remember, I did a TV show called Pitch Battle, and
Yes.
we were originally told that the men would wear, comfortable shoes as usual, and the women were wearing boots. And I thought, brilliant. In the last moment, they changed it to these little thin strappy shoes that I would never wear in a million years, and I was in agony.
Did you have
And
choreography?
yep, yeah, we were dancing along a stage, a thin stage into a big stage, down some stairs at the first bit or the second bit, I can't remember. And you can actually see fear and pain in my face while smiling through it. And I was so upset and angry about that we had no choice as the women in the group but to wear them. And I'm like, that's not what Natalyan would wear. That's not who I am. And I remember our makeup artist, in between going on stage, I don't know why she would do this because I wouldn't do this for someone, was rubbing my feet.
Oh,
I
bless.
know. I was like, I love you.
Anything for the show, baby.
Yeah, I would never have rubbed someone's feet. No. But yeah, I refuse to do that now. I'm like a trainer, sneaker, maybe little black boots girl. That's never going to change. It's who I am, and that's who I'm going to be.
If I
And it
cross the
comes from-
stage, I like to be barefoot, actually.
Yeah, you are a barefooty kind of hippie person, which I like.
The other thing that I tend to do on stage, and I do this far too often, and especially when I'm playing guitar as well, is nearly break my teeth on the mic because I'm getting all carried away, and then I just literally headbutt the
Smack it.
mic, and it makes a poof, and I again have to style it out, hoping nobody noticed. But
And
people
it's blood
do
snot
notice.
falling down your face.
I had blood snot yet, but now you've said that, I probably will.
There's still time. There's still time. So what about any other experiences? Because I have a fear of stairs and falling because the experiences I have in my life, I'm not really a clumsy person. I don't fall a lot, touch wood.
So clumsy.
I'm not, but when I do, I do. Like it's dramatic.
Go hard or go home.
Go hard or go home. And this stems from always being late for assembly at school. And we had these doors, you know, those doors that do flip in and out. There's no stop point. It just flips in and out.
Yeah, two-way.
And I was running to get into assembly because I was late again. No matter what I did, I was always late, and I don't know why. And I'm not like that right now as an adult because of that. And my foot got stuck in the door, and I went flying down the middle.
In front of everyone.
Yep. And I have another experience of those flip doors at school when me and my friend Lou, our boyfriends, she'd found out that my boyfriend was going to get punched by someone. So we come running out of music class randomly, and I got stuck there trying to save him.
Should have let him get punched.
I know. That's what I do. That's what I do now.
They will fight and leave them to it. But yeah, it's funny. I couldn't begin to tell you the amount of stories I have around being an utter klutz. Tripping over rugs. I think I've got quite well developed ways of laughing it off. Because you know when somebody falls and everyone goes, "Oh no!"
Yeah, laugh, not laugh.
For them. So like just like this says, "Ha ha, silly old me," or whatever, to make everyone else feel okay with the fact that I've embarrassed myself in public. I mean, like offices. I actually have a bruise on my thigh right now that I have no idea. And that's not like from being drunk or anything, because I've not been drinking recently. So it's like I literally have a bruise. It's kind of table height. I don't remember doing that. I'm so used to being clumsy.
I'm always bruised because I'm fair. But I think that I was just starting to laugh a minute ago about embarrassment, is that I think that one of the main sources of embarrassment, especially for a woman, do you know when you're walking down the street and you go over on your heel
I've twisted both my ankles.
and like you just style it out. You just style it out and hobble along. That's happened to everybody. That's literally happened to everybody, every woman anyway. Just
Is big up the flat shoe.
yeah. I've just accepted I'm small and I'm getting smaller. I'm definitely shrinking. And it is what it is. It's just who I am, and I'm not gonna wear heels to combat that. I've got these little black boots. I think you've even seen them, because once I have a pair of black boots that I can walk in, they're being used until they are embarrassing to the point where you can't wear them out in public anymore. Like, I'm a terrible shoe buyer. I'm a hat person, as we all know, right? Shoes, I have nice shoes, but I struggle buying shoes. I have
Same.
fat feet, and my feet always hurt, and I'm just, if I don't have to buy any, I don't have to buy any, and I do it when I'm desperate. And I get anxiety, like if I'm invited to a wedding, I get anxiety about shoes.
Because you've got to fit in, but you don't want to be uncomfortable.
Yep. And I don't want to be in, I just don't want to be in pain all day, to the point where, I mean, I can tell you so many occasions where I've been to these, dressing up affairs, which I like dressing up, but I dress up in my way. I'm not really a little strappy shoe girl. And my whole day's been
This is
ruined.
this is what I love about the Gen Xers, the fashion style of wearing ball gowns with DM boots.
Yeah,
I love that. I went through a whole period of time actually about wearing a bit of a fancy dress and some Converse.
yeah, I think I've seen you in that.
And I just love that. I love that kind of subversion of the ideal or the convention.
I love it. I do that all the time. The dress I wore on last week's episode, that I think it's like the blue long summery dress. It's like I can wear that with boots or anything, but I often wear them with white and black Adidas trainers.
Yeah, I love a white trainer.
Love it. I love crisp white.
I still, however, wearing nice, safe white trainer shoes, will trip over the mug and walk into the post and end up with a bruise on my thigh. I've got no idea how I got it. In fact, actually, I've got this pair of Converse that I just don't think my right leg works properly, because like, I will catch myself on myself and almost
So trip over yourself.
almost take a spill in the middle of the street. I have fears around knocking my teeth out. Touch wood when I say that.
Yeah, I'm
Or
worried
like
about
up steps and stuff. I like to hold a rail, and that's not because I feel old and frail. That's just time tested, good practice when it comes to Phoebe walking in the world, let alone running. In fact, I don't like to run because I'm afraid I'm fall over. And
I'm
like,
not
in
a
terms of like gym work and stuff, I'll only really run on a treadmill because it's predictable.
Oh no, I do swift walking. Walking uphill is my, because I'm just not a runner. There's a reason why all these long distance runners don't look like me.
Yeah, they've got no boobs.
No, it's just not conducive to who I am genetically. But I just thought, I just had a memory, or should I call it a trauma? I was in Houston recently. I don't think I've
Yeah.
told anyone this. So I'm walking along the road with my business partner, and I just go flying over, and there was this big pothole, like this big, in the street in downtown Houston, and my foot went right down. And it was hilarious actually, because I kind of went, It wasn't quick, it was like delayed reaction. And my business partner, and I said to him, "You're a typical man," was looking around, and then he looked back down and he said, "What are you doing on the floor?"
What happened to you?
Well, thanks for your help. And funny enough, one of theirs, like these street workers, what is the wrong word? They're like street patrol officers or something.
They're like community policemen.
Yeah, sort of. And they're like, I can't remember what they're called. He was standing right by me. And he went, "Oh, let me report that." And I'm just standing there a little bit shocked, and my knees were hurting. I thought, they're going to be black and blue. I won't be able to wear that skirt tomorrow. And I'm just like in a complete haze. It's a business. I mean, a business, so it's not the time to be an idiot. And I was standing there, and then my business partner was like, "Okay, let's go." And I'm like waiting. He goes, "What were you waiting for?" I said, "I thought he was going to, take my name, and then I was going to get compensation or something."
Some kind of an apology.
Yeah, but he didn't. He just reported it, and then we're all standing there waiting for nothing. And then I walked off, and I thought, we're in America. I thought I was going to get like 10 million payout or something.
Well, you could give it a go. I once sued a local council for spreading my ankle.
Really?
On the side, yeah, it was really negligible. It was a bus route, and I was so angry about it. But I think fashion can be a bit of a health and safety hazard. I once tripped up, just like crossing the road, and you get back onto the pavement, and it had a bit of wheelchair access, a bit of a slope up to the pavement from the road, and I had this denim skirt on that didn't have a lot of give. I was running late for an appointment, and I literally tripped up on the skirt and fell forward. Haven't worn that skirt since.
No, the tight ones like that. And talking about fashion, I used to go to Crete a bit when I was a kid, and my mum, God rest her soul, and this is hilarious, so it's not child abuse, but my mum used to get us like the best lilos. And for anyone else out there, not everyone calls them lilos. They're like air beds for the water.
Floaty water.
Yeah, floats, but they're beds.
Yeah.
And she just bought us some brand new super duper ones, and we went out, and the weather changed by this harbour, and this is quite serious. I started drowning, and I was bashed against the rocks and had all sea urchins in me. don't think I've told you this. And I remember waking up. So apparently my brother had run in and got some help or something, and I'm drowning. And I'm waking up to this handsome Greek man resuscitating me, right? And then all I remember is my mum running over to the Greek guy and saying, "Where's her Lilo?"
Because she'd just bought it.
And he was like really angry at my mum for saying that. It was hilarious. And then they spent about 10 hours, my mum and dad with tweezers, pulling out the sea urchin
no.
needles. And it was like almost humorous. And apparently I went straight back in the water the next day, so I wasn't traumatized.
Or were you?
Oh, no, that's another episode. I've got plenty of trauma to unpack.
So, listeners, what are your funny, klutzy stories? What stagecraft tips have you got for dealing with fashion faux pas? Let us know.
Absolutely. We can't wait to hear your stories. Thanks, everyone. And we'll see you next week.
See you next week.